Today we are going to talk about which test you should choose between Ielts and PTE. First, let's have a look at patterns of these two tests. First of all, when we look at Ielts, there are 4 different sections. First one is listening, second one is reading, third one is writing, and fourth one is speaking. And as you all know that Ielts listening has 25 minutes recording. On basis of that, you have to answer the questions during the voice of that recording is being played. And the second section is reading, wherein you have to read 3 different texts, and each passage. And the second section is reading, wherein you have to solve 3 different passages, and each passage has more than 750 words. And time allowed in Ielts reading is 1 hour. And the third one is writing, where you have to perform 2 writing tasks. First one is writing task 1, where you have to explain the statistics, or you have to write about a map or a process chart. And second task of writing is essay. You have to write an essay and give your opinion related to that particular topic. And in speaking section of Ielts, there are 3 different parts. In part 1 of speaking, you have to answer basic questions, means introductory questions. And in part 2, you have to speak on a particular topic for 1 to 2 minutes. And in third part of Ielts, you have to answer complex questions related to the topic that you have spoken about in part 2. So that is about the pattern of Ielts. And if we look at pattern of PTE, it looks pretty simplified as compared to Ielts, because here we have 3 different sections. First section is speaking and writing. Second section is listening, and third section is writing. But these 3 sections are further divided into more than 20 subsections that particularly make it simpler as compared to Ielts. Here I am not saying that PTE is way too easy test. That's not the case, because you also need good language skills to get good score in PTE. So if we look at writing and speaking section of PTE and compare it with the writing and speaking of Ielts, we see that writing and speaking section of PTE is easier for the test takers, cause test takers are used to of these patterns in their day-to-day life. For example, in our day-to-day life, we are habitual of writing short messages to our friends, and we are also used to of sending short recordings to each other. So sometimes you must have seen that people also communicate through voice messages to each other. So we are used to of these patterns, and because of that, this very section of PTE test is not that difficult for test takers. So it becomes easy for test takers to deal with these small tasks. And if we look at listening section of PTE and compare it with the listening of Ielts, again it is easier for test takers to handle, because in PTE listening you have to deal with the 2 or 3 odd minutes recordings that are easier to understand as compared to longer audio of Ielts. And you also have to keep your mind concentrated on Ielts listening for more than 25 minutes. But on the other hand, in PTE listening, you have to listen to the audio only for 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, and you have to answer the question on basis of that particular audio. So it is easier in case of PTE. And finally, when we look at reading section of PTE, we see that we have to read paragraphs of 50 or 60 words, and we have to answer the questions on basis of that particular paragraph. And it is easier for us as compared to Ielts reading, because we are dealing with the small texts one by one, and we are answering those particular texts one by one, rather than handling the whole passage of 750 words at once. So, and it is also easier for us to solve PTE reading, because we are used to of reading small texts in our day-to-day life, and we normally don't read longer texts in our daily life, and that's why it becomes difficult for the test takers of Ielts who are not habitual of reading long texts. And hence overall we can say that for most of the test takers, PTE is the test that they can opt for, and Ielts is not a cup of tea for the guys who are techno-friendly and social media birds. If you have habit of reading books, if you have habits of reading newspaper for 1 or 2 or 3 hours a day, and you have habit of watching movies, and if you have a habit of listening to news for 1 or 2 hours a day, and you have habit of writing longer texts or writing articles or writing day-to-day diary, then only you can go for Ielts. Otherwise, for most of the people, PTE is the right test. Thanks for watching.